Welcome to the 1111 Synchronized Podcast. Hope everyone is doing well, taking care of themselves, taking care of others, wearing masks. Do it. Everyone just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Very good. Very good. So if you have any topic requests, please send those to my inbox at Agent K21 Podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Agent K21. Find me on all the social media platforms. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know if you would like to be a feature or if you'd like to collaborate in any way. Please reach out. Let's get started. Let's do this because we have everything we need in every moment. We have everything we need. We just have to seize the day. Seize the day. Y'all know what that means in Latin. Seize the day. Seize the moments. And it's time for some action. All right, as we continue to discuss the laws of attraction and becoming the alchemist that we originally are, that we all are, it's innately us. We just have to wake up to our divinity and enhance that. And the way we enhance it is with our thoughts, our beliefs, our words, and finally our actions. So actions speak louder than words, and we need all of these tools to set the foundation for manifesting the lives that we are here and meant to live. So, time for some action. What does that mean? What does that mean? You know, when I was younger, one of the mantras that was quoted to me that I actually appreciated is activity breeds activity. Activity breeds activity. The way I've interpreted that is when we do what we can, the universe, the source will do what we cannot. So when we do what we can, everything in our best interest, everything in our grasp, and everything in our possibility, the universe will open up doors that we could never open and close doors that we could never close as well. So when we do these things, when we start moving, things happen. You shake the tree, the fruit will fall. Now, there's a big difference between the action that is necessary when we are manifesting versus the current dimension, the lower realm dimension, third dimension, physical worldview of productivity, increased productivity. Very big difference. So when we want to actually take action towards manifesting the lives that we're here for, less is more. More is less. It's about working smarter, not working harder. So please try not to confuse this with productivity in the ways that we've been groomed. Most of us have been groomed to view, and to live in a society where we feel like the busier we are, the more productive we are. When it comes to manifesting, being busy in a way to avoid or to deliberately turn a blind eye is actually pushing our subconscious. So what I mean is, if you want to be a deliberate creator of your reality, we have to, of course, co-create from the realm of reality. In addition, we have to be awake. We have to do these things with our eyes open, not with our eyes closed, and not trying to busy ourselves to avoid any perceived pain or enhancing any fears that we may have. Those are things that can throw us off when we are manifesting. So, how do we actually get our actions in alignment with everything that we are working towards? Now, I've been talking about setting the foundation with our beliefs. What we believe is going to create our thoughts. What we think is going to eventually be spoken out of our mouth. The words we say will, all of these things really determine our actions that we make, the choices that we make. We can never move past a choice we don't understand ourselves. So as we begin to manifest, we must learn how to observe. We must learn how to be proactive instead of reactive. So we must learn how to be proactive, how to get ahead of things, how to strategize, how to see things from multiple perspectives, see the bigger picture, being proactive. Because yes, we are, light beings and we are here, to spread the love. But that doesn't mean we're not going to get thrown a little bit of hate or thrown a little bit of shade. That's definitely part of the process. So to stay in our alignment to manifest, we must be proactive instead of reactive. We must learn how to respond instead of just being triggered and going on autopilot and doing what we've seen other people do or what our former self has done. We must become very aware of what we're doing. So when we are creating our own reality, it is our actions that will speak louder than our words. Because you can say all day whatever you want to say, but until you put in that work, it's not going to bear the fruit. So, don't just talk about it. We got to be about it completely, 100% through and through. And so the universe is going to test you for sure. The universe is going to say, oh, word, is that how you feel? That's what you said. Let's see. So here's an example. Here's a scenario. Say you are going through the drive-thru to get your favorite cup of coffee. All right, I don't drink coffee, by the way, only tea. You're going to get your favorite cup of coffee, and you get to the window, and the employee says, we don't have coffee right now. It's going to take us about 10 minutes to make your coffee, but we do have this tea. Would you like this tea? Now, if it was me, I would take the tea. But someone who ordered coffee and they are offered tea instead, they have to make a choice. Are they going to be patient enough to wait for what they've been asking for? That is an action step, to be patient. Or are they going to settle for this tea that they did not order, they do not want, but they take it anyway because, time is money. So they take it. And now they're upset, full of resentment and bitterness, and really hating the world. And now they continue the cycle of torture. So when we are manifesting, there will be different things to show if we really have the action to back up our words. If we say we want coffee, are we willing to wait until we get the coffee? Or will we take the tea? If we say we want to be a millionaire, are we going to continue to surround ourselves with lack and people who are not even on that same path and continue to watch, reality TV and things that are contrary to cultivating the millionaire that we're trying to be? Or are we going to take the actions to say, I want to be a millionaire, so therefore I'm going to have a financial plan. I'm going to have financial advisors in my corner. I'm going to read books about this. I'm going to change everything I thought I knew and learn a new way. So if we're really wanting to manifest, which I feel most of you are, I thank you for being here. It shows me that you clicking on this episode is an action. So you are putting in that work, and action can look very different. So whatever your views are on action, discuss it with yourself. Why do you believe action has to look this way? Or why can't action be this thing? What is action to you? What does that even mean? Because meditating is an action. Eating healthy is an action. Speaking kindly to yourself is an action. Taking a bubble bath is an action. All of these things are actions that will promote you in the direction that you're headed in. If you're headed in the direction of self-love, you will dismantle everything that is opposing it. Even if people are saying, well, you're being selfish and you're just not right. Yeah, the noise is gonna be there. But when you have your eyes set on what you're going towards, you're gonna use the actions of establishing boundaries and maintaining your sense of self-love. So, how are some ways that we can take action when it comes to the laws of attraction, when it comes to manifesting? Well, one thing we can do is we can create a plan. Now, be mindful. I say create a plan. I didn't say create a to-do list, although that may be in the plan. But I feel like one thing that we have the power to do is find ways that will benefit us, and they don't have to look like anyone else's ways. For me, doing a to-do list is annoying, but creating a plan is different. How is it different? It just is. How is it different for you is more importantly. And for some people, creating a vision board, is really what they need to do. So find what creating a plan actually looks like for you. because we create plans for every big event. We plan the wedding, we plan how to raise children, we plan how we're going to go to college if we choose to, we plan, like I mentioned, financial planning. We get a plan for if we want to move, we get a plan for when we want to buy a house. Every moment in your life has been planned. So finding what that means for you and what ways will be effective for you. So creating a plan, creating a vision, finding the action steps that will get you closer to that. Like I've said before, words of affirmation may not work to go from 0 to 60, but we can go from 0 to 2 to 4, etc. Baby steps as we create this activity, because activity will breed more activity. So when we just do something, all the doors will open. I'll give you another example. When I was starting to go to grad school, even undergrad, really. I'll start with undergrad. When I was considering undergrad school, I had to fill out a lot of applications, right? Got denied a lot of times, but I was persistent in it and continue to put that activity out there. Next thing you know, doors were opening that I definitely had no way of controlling, or no way of creating on my own. But when we extend our vibration to the universe will respond to that. So, for example, I wanted to get into this school, and they were having an audition for music. So I went, I drove the 3.5 hours to the school with, relatives, and I performed, ended up getting a scholarship, ending up going to the school. Now, had I not taken the action to get myself in the car, find out about the event, go to the event, audition, was I nervous? Absolutely. Was I terrified? Sure. But did we do it? That is the point. And I could have never given myself a scholarship. That was something that just happened. Yes, I put the vibration out there. I aligned myself with it without any necessary expectation, and was received more than I thought I would. And that school, ladies and gentlemen, is the illustrious North Carolina Central University. Shout out to the HBCUs of the world. Shout out to the bands, the Marching Sound Machine. Oh yeah. And so when we are creating our own reality, we have the choices. Every choice will lead to one path or another. Now, if you're as indecisive as I used to be, perhaps making choices is not a very fun thing. But you have to realize something I had to realize: no choice is still a choice. We're either creating deliberately or we're creating by default. So no choice is still a choice. Silence is still an answer. Silence is powerful. Not saying anything is saying everything. So if you were given, here's another sort of example, is if you were given a multiple choice test, right? Most of us have had to do these standardized tests where we have to make choices. We have to choose the correct answer. We have to memorize this information and guess correctly. So if we skip a question and we don't answer it, do you know what happens? The answer is still counted as incorrect. So we didn't choose right or wrong, but we still got it wrong. How'd that happen? So when we skip over the choices, or when we don't make a choice, the universe will make a choice for you. A choice will be made, and it probably won't be the choice you would have chosen. It may be an incorrect choice for you. And, a lot of us may have been groomed to give away our choices to other people, and feel like we have no agency to create our own reality. But I'm here to tell you, we do, and we can. And for those of us who choose to, we will. So one thing that was said to me that was really helpful on my path was saying yes to one thing may mean saying no to something else. And let me tell you, FOMO, the fear of missing out, can be very real. But later on, I'll talk more about how fear is an illusion and how fear is direct opposition to manifesting. So, if you find any apprehensive feelings when you hear that saying yes to one thing may mean saying no to another, deliberate with yourself, talk with yourself, hold yourself in that presence, and really understand, where does that come from? Why is it so detrimental to say no to one thing and yes to another? What are we missing out? What do we perceive that we're missing out? What does it mean? And ask a lot of questions and get to the root of where it actually stems from. So, as we create, we have to be okay with taking one direction. And I feel like the more secure we are, whereas most of us may have experienced childhoods and attachment styles that were less than secure, that were insecure, it can be hard to feel confident in those choices that we make. So that is some other work to do. All of the internal work is activity. We live in such an extroverted type of world where if you're doing the most, you're seen as the best or seen as whatever. But it's really the inner work that everyone has kind of been forced to do, who have chosen to at least, to slow down this year, to slow down. There's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. You're stuck with yourself. Just deal. Just sit there and love on yourself or someone else. However it works out, that's all good. So we cannot give what we do not have. So if we do not have that self-love, we will be giving very little, if anything at all, to other people. And if the love we think we have is love and it's actually not, whoa there, what are we really giving? So the activity is to return to ourselves. The activity could be to do yoga. The activity could be to meditate, to learn how to cook, to go back to dancing and singing and painting and drawing and making music. However, there are so many activities that we can do that don't necessarily involve anything outside of ourselves. There may be other people on the journey, but it isn't solitude, a journey of solitude. And if, this time has been really struggling for people, as I know it has, I would definitely recommend listening to the episodes about solitude and the episode about introversion, introverted power, because we all have little bits of everything. We have a little bit of extroversion, a little bit of introversion, and some of us more than others, and that's perfectly fine. I think what's most important is to find out where your alignment is. Are you more on the extroverted scale? Are you more on the introverted scale? Now, people have the common misconception that if you're introverted, you're antisocial or you just don't like people. That's not usually the case. It's usually the way we process information. People who tend to be extroverted may talk out loud what they're thinking and feeling, whereas someone who may be more tended to be introverted may just think about it and ponder on it, or a combination of both. So when we want to make an action, we need to find out which direction we're going in. That's why creating a plan can help. Knowing what we're actually wanting to attain can also help. And realizing that making no choice is a choice, right? We have free will. So we can make any choice we want. We can even give our free will over to fate to make the choice for us, to give it to the universe to make the choice for us. Another mantra on my journey that was very helpful was, be the wind, do not be blown by it. And for me, I was very tossed and turned by outside circumstances. A lot of things outside of me was making choices for me and just kind of going with the flow in an unhealthy way. Being the leaf going down the river instead of being just tossed by the current instead of creating that current, I should say. And so, being an air sign, it was actually very helpful to think I can actually be the wind underneath my own sails. I can guide myself where I need to go and where I choose to go. I don't have to be blown off course by everything that I see or everything that I hear. And that was very helpful for me. And the time is 5:55 right now. So that's beautiful. A little distracted there because of that. But the thing was, when I started making actions that were in alignment with my core, with my center, who I am, it actually helped me become the greatest version of myself as I'm becoming. It's all a work in progress, And so another thing that some people may have heard that I also agree with and live by is the saying that faith without works is dead. Now, when I say the word faith, I don't mean it in a religious connotation. I mean it in the faith in the universe. I mean it in believing in oneself. So we can have all the faith in the world, but if we don't actually put it to work, it's not going to do anything. So some of you may have seen this post. I'll probably post it on my Instagram as well. It says that people pray for the cake. Then the universe gives them the batter, the eggs, the oil, the icing, a pan, an oven. Then they get frustrated and leave the kitchen. So a lot of times we have everything we need right in front of us, but we may not realize it, or we may not utilize it. We might have been asking for, whatever the case is, but we're not actually putting the action towards it. I hear people sometimes they'll say, and this is kind of a not great example because of the conditions we're in right now, but in an ideal society where everyone is allowed to go outside and meet people, someone might say, I really just want a relationship, but I don't want to find a relationship online. And then you say, okay, understandable, but well, what are you doing? Well, I'm not doing anything. I'm not, they might say that they're just kind of hoping for Prince Charming to knock on the door, or princess to knock on the door, whomever, to knock on the door and just say, I'm here. And it's like, but you're asking for this perfect relationship or for this significant other, but are you even ready for that? Are you even going to be that kind of person that you want to attract? Are you able to give that to yourself? And what actions are you taking? Are you out or mingling or however, online, whatever, social media-ing? Are you doing things to put yourself in the path for this interaction to occur? If not, then it's sending a mixed message to the universe. So you can sit there and have all the faith in the world and sit on your butt and not do anything, but it will provide no life. So when we align our faith, our belief with the universe and actually believe that we are worthy to receive what we are here for, then that's when the universe can provide. So when we do all that we can do on our own strength, then the universe will answer. Now this was the one that I grew up listening to. This was the story that I grew up listening to. This is another example, very similar to the cake batter one, but I like this one. That someone was drowning and they're going, God, please help me. Please help me, please help me. Somebody help me, please. And a boat arrives and the person just continues, help, somebody help. The boat leaves, a whale shows up and they're like, somebody help. The whale eventually leaves. I think a helicopter flew by something and they're like, help. The helicopter leaves and the person eventually drowns. And moral of the story is just taking that action. The boat arrives, but do we get on the boat? The whale arrives, Shamu right here. Are we going to ride Shamu home or no? And helicopter here dropping down the ladder for you, and we just don't even try to get on. So don't, wait or let that be you. Yes, move in alignment with your rhythms and timings, but sometimes they say, waiting too late is good things come to those who wait, but better things come to those who go after it. Sorry about that. My alarm just ended the session. So, yes, with that, I do think that it's time for me to take some action to go do something. So, And by something, I mean nourishment. It's time for some food now. So it is time for the action. And that quote I just gave, or that last example, that actually was, I remember hearing it also later on in life on the movie. Perhaps you've heard of it, perhaps you've seen it. If not, I would recommend checking it out. The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and Jaden Smith. That is a movie I would recommend as well to check out about action and, following your dreams. It's going to be worth it, but it might not be easy. Most dreams that are worth it are not easy because if it was easy, everyone would do it. If it were easy, it wouldn't have the same feel. It wouldn't have the same tenacity that it takes to develop the strength and the character to persevere to get to that destination. So I hope that you all are well. Please continue manifesting. Please continue creating and co-creating your realities. If you have any topic requests, please send them in. If you'd like to be a feature, send that in as well. Also, shameless plug time. I do offer dream interpretations that are available. If you are interested in learning more about that, please send me a direct message. I understand some people may be experiencing dreams more rapidly right now during this time. So if you would like help digesting and assessing what your dreams may mean, I will give you my interpretation from the source through that gift. And I will also recommend some tools to help you nourish your own gift, to discern your own dreams, so that you don't have to become dependent on anyone else besides yourself and your source. So thank you all for listening. Thank you all for subscribing in advance. Thank you for sending this to those who you believe may benefit. And, lights, camera, action. Let's get it. Have a good one, y'all. Be safe, stay well, be blessed. Until next time.
When I was a kid growing up, we used to love playing outside, riding bikes. And it was the 80s, record heat waves. I mean, people were like dying on the side of the road, getting heat strokes. The only thing you could do was go in the house and, take a shower a couple times a day. So, I'll never forget, I was like 7 years old. I closed my eyes, and that's when it started. I started seeing sounds.
Time for some action. Time for some action. Time for some action.
One day, a man was drowning in the water. And a boat came by and said, "Do you need any help?" He said, "No, thank you, God will save me." Then another boat came by, said, "Do you need any help?" And he said, "No, thank you, God will save me." Then he drowned and went to heaven. And he said, "God, why didn't you save me?" And God said, "I sent you 2 big boats, you dummy." Do you like it?
Yeah, it's very funny, man. Give me your hand.